Hey guys, Brandon Woolham, CCM Magazine, today hanging out in the CCM Cafe with Tyler Michael Smith. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So we had you in 6 months or so, did a Christmas song, but we didn't get to catch up with you really that day. So now you got more stuff going on.
Yeah.
We get to chat and catch up. Someone like you, the movie's out there now from Karen Kingsbury, and you were kind of one of the behind-the-scenes guys in this one. Composed did the score for it.
That's right.
How'd that come about?
Yeah. So Karen, it's funny. We've been in contact for quite a few years. She's obviously a very well-loved author. Has a lot of local fame and honestly, national and probably worldwide. And we've always talked about the possibility of maybe collaborating one day, and that day came when she kind of launched her new production company, which I think it's really cool for an author to do what she's doing, to be able to really, because she's the author of these stories, for her to be able to have the control that she
and she's kept it family too. Her
exactly
son Tyler
her son
involved.
Tyler directed. So Tyler and I had an initial meeting and talked about the possibility of me jumping into this, and I wrote a little short piece of music for them, and they loved it and decided to hire me to do the whole score. So here we are, and it's out.
We're kind of in like the middle ground now, so we don't know where you can see it because it's coming out of theaters. It'll be streaming somewhere eventually, but
yes,
for these 2 weeks, we don't know where you can see it.
Stay
but eventually,
tuned. Stay tuned for news.
Yeah,
you'll be able to see it.
That. Yeah, so this is something you do all the time with these scores for movies. For somebody like me and probably a lot of people watching this that have no idea how that really works, what is the writing process for that? Is it something where before the movie starts you start writing it, or you have to wait till the end, or while it's going on you're on set kind of watching some of this happen?
All of the above. Depending on the project, really. I mean, my preference is to get involved as early as possible. With this particular film, like they had finished shooting and everything, but there's been times where I've been asked to score before they've shot anything, and all they have is a script. And I get inspired pretty early, from ideas and from concepts. I like to really get a handle on things as early as possible. So those listening, if you have a movie that's done and needs a score in a week, don't call me, please. No, I'm kidding. But I've done all the above,
And with doing a score, some people think maybe it's just like a music soundtrack, but it's not. You're actually building up scenes in the movie. You're setting the tone in the movie. Maybe talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of a character in the film. It plays a significant role, and that's why I think it's important. Like I said, to the earlier I can get involved, the better, because it gives you time to develop those characters and themes. And really, it comes down to it's a conversation between the director and myself, an ongoing conversation that evolves and changes as as things move forward, but it really is an important piece, and I'm thankful and honored to be part of it when I get the opportunity. So
this one was shot here in the Nashville area, down in Franklin, Tennessee, right there around the corner from your house, probably. Did you get to go on set when they were filming this?
Yeah, what's funny is I didn't. I saw initially I saw pictures on Instagram of going, hey, this is like they're shooting a movie locally. I need to figure out what this is, and I found out Karen was involved, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find out about this movie. So it was a little surreal. I mean, some of it was shot in the cafe that my wife used to work in. A lot of it was shot where I grew up. And Nashville Zoo. This is like the first film that the Nashville Zoo allowed to be filmed.
Wow.
There. So that was kind of special.
Cool. Yeah,
little debut.
Cool. So I mean, you're involved in so much musically, have been for years. Take us back to when you first started doing these movie scores. I mean, that's a very niche thing to get involved with. How did you get involved in that?
Almost by accident. I mean, I grew up in a musical home. My dad, Michael W. Smith, who's an up-and-coming Christian artist. I was around music my whole life, so that was something that was kind of just I naturally fell into. But where the film side kind of came in was my brother, Ryan Whitaker, is a accomplished filmmaker. But back then he was kind of starting out, and he had made a short film, and I was messing around in my dad's studio one day and said, hey, Ryan, I wrote this little theme idea. And he said, hey, do you want to score the whole short? And I was like, hey, I've never done that before, but I'll give it a shot. He ended up getting funding to do a feature eventually, which he asked me to score, and that was kind of my first taste of what this world is like. And I thought to myself, if I could make a career doing this, that'd be pretty cool. And one thing after another, I just have taken them as they come. So
You talk about the musical history there with your dad. When you have something like that, does that add extra pressure with people watching you and thinking you got to live up to to Michael W. Smith's stuff, or does it help you
Yeah.
because you've been around it your whole life, or both?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. And I guess there's a little bit of both. Pressure, maybe from people, but I never felt that from my dad. That was one thing I can say about my parents, is they never really pushed any of us to try to, fit a mold, or they kind of wanted us to do what God called us to do, individually, which I really appreciate. So it was a natural thing for me to fall into music because of what my dad was doing, but I didn't feel that pressure from him necessarily. That's kind of,
yeah. And now you're starting to be on the other end. You have 5 kids at home. Are they getting involved in music too?
They are, believe it or not. I'm already seeing, particularly my 11-year-old son is really kind of taken to it very naturally. I mean, I've helped him in some ways, but he's really, really, I can see a natural musical ability. And he doesn't just get that from me. His mother, my wife, is an amazing songwriter as well, Sarah. We've been on the show together. And so she's incredibly musical, has an amazing voice, is currently writing a lot of music for Lifeway, their kids department, which I'm helping produce some of that. So they're growing up in a musical environment like I did. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what God does with them.
Yeah. So you're involved in all kinds of random theme songs and jingles and stuff that you've been behind. What's one that people are probably going to know that they would have no idea that your name is behind the scenes on?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, gosh. This is kind of taking it back a little bit, but if you guys remember back in the day, I think on Instagram, we were limited to 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You remember those days?
Yeah.
So I got a call from a friend who knew someone at Sony Pictures, and they were looking for a 15-minute kind of high energy piece of music that they could use on their reels, basically, for their upcoming films. And so, they asked me to write something for it, and I said, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. Before I know it, they call me and say, hey, we were going through your SoundCloud page, and we found this piece that you uploaded. It was to some other project that I had submitted for, and it didn't get accepted, basically. So it was just kind of sitting on my SoundCloud page, and they found it. They said, hey, we like this. Can we use that? And sure enough, they used it. And so during that season, they were playing that on all their reels on Instagram. So that was kind of a random.
That's awesome.
Random one that people probably don't know.
Yeah, and if people are interested in getting involved in some of this type of stuff you do, you offer free tips on all your socials too. So just follow those, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, I mean, I'm hit or miss, but you can follow me. See, if I'm having a good week, you can.
If it doesn't work, don't blame him. But he's trying to help
present.
you.
But yeah. No, I do like sharing.
Awesome.
Sharing little tips and things I've learned along the way.
Well, what's going on with you right now? This movie we're talking about is done and gone. You've kind of forgotten the music for it. What's on the horizon right now?
Yeah. There's some definitely exciting things on the horizon. Currently, I'm finding myself, when I'm not working in film, I'm in the music industry doing stuff. So I'm working with different artists on productions for their albums, doing a lot of arrangements. My wife and I are doing a lot of work for Lifeway, as I mentioned, and so that's been honestly taking up a lot of my time. There's some talks of features coming up that we're in initial conversations about that I won't speak about yet, but yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe we'll have you back
this year's
next
exciting.
year
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll be on the lookout for that. Someone Like You is coming out of theaters now. You're going to be able to see it again somewhere real soon, so keep a lookout for that.